up Pack Your Bags Week, now with tips on how and where to find hidden travel deals. Joining us is travel expert and founder of Going, Scott Keyes.
Scott, welcome back. If you want hidden gem travel ideas, Scott's your man. What exactly is a hidden travel deal?
So a hidden travel deal are the best deals in airfare. And this can range from the sort of unadvertised fares, you know, $500 round trip to Tokyo, stuff like that, to the holy grail of cheap flights, these mistake fares. That's when an airline accidentally sells a ticket for way less than they meant to. You know, a personal one I got, nonstop from New York City to Milan for $130 round trip.
Wait, how? It was just a mistake fare?
United Airlines, bags included, everything, $130.
Incredible. So if you're buying a plane ticket for a group, is it better to book everybody at the same time or the same reservation, or should you?
Sometimes that can actually be cheaper if you look to book tickets one at a time. I was recently looking to take a trip with my family of four from Portland to Chicago. And when I looked for flights, they were $202 per ticket. When I reduced the number of travelers, though, from 4 to 3, all of a sudden, the price dropped to $112 per ticket.
What?
I know, what's going on there?
Yeah.
It's never occurred to me to
do that, because we're always traveling. You don't want to get off the same reservation.
Right.
We get scared of not being on the same.
Yes,
How
exactly.
do you avoid that?
So what's happening here is the airline is saying they want everybody on a reservation to pay the same price. And they, in this case, only had 3 tickets left at that cheaper $112 price.
Okay.
So what we did was we booked the 3 tickets for $112, booked the last ticket, the 4th ticket, at full price, and ended up saving $270 for the family. Worried about, you know, are these reservations going to be linked? Just call up the airline afterwards, ask them to link the 2 itineraries, and that way, anytime if there's a cancellation, delay, misconnection, they'll be handled together.
Oh, that's incredible. That would be my biggest fear, is that they would somehow be disconnected.
Not going to be stranding the kids in Chicago or something like that.
I always thought that buying a ticket round trip was cheaper, the cheaper way to go. And it used to be true. Is that still the same, or has that changed?
Not always. You know, look, think about it like this. Let's say you want to go buy some workout clothes. Mark, me and you are going to shop for some workout clothes. We go to the store. We want to get a great deal.
Okay.
We're not just going to go to one store, right?
Right.
We're not just going to go to the Nike store, because we know they're not going to tell us if Adidas has a great sale going on. That's the very mistake that a lot of us make when we're searching for airfare. When we search for a round-trip ticket, let's say on Delta, they're not going to tell you if United has a better flight, if American has a better price, this and that. And so when you search for a round-trip ticket, you want to check, is it cheaper to search for 2 one-ways on the exact same dates? It might be the case that Delta has the cheapest ticket to your destination, but United has the cheapest ticket back to home.
That way you can sample another airline, too, and see how much you like the
I want to go
snacks
buy
on
workout
that.
clothes with you.
Let's do it. I've got time after this.
Hey, more with Scott when we come back until a bit. Stick around.
We're back with Scott Keyes. Your next tip is about gardening your reservations. I'm not
Okay.
entirely sure if I understand what that means.
Yeah, look, I am a terrible gardener, I'll admit it. But even I know that you wouldn't just put seeds in the ground and wait for 6 months and expect, you know, you're gonna have some wonderful tomatoes or peppers or anything.
Okay.
Like, you gotta garden them in the meantime, do some weeding, do some hoeing. What you want to do is the same approach with your travel reservations. A lot of people make the mistake where they just book their flight, their car, their hotel, and then don't think about it again until they actually take the trip. But if the price drops on your hotel or your car rental after you book it, well, you can just cancel your old reservation and book the new lower price. If the price of your flight drops, you can call up the airline and get the difference back in travel credit. I did this recently with a car rental. It dropped 6 times between when I booked it and when I took the trip. Ended up saving $100 per day on cars alone.
Wow.
So how often should you check in?
I still want to keep my sanity, so I set myself a calendar reminder every Monday morning, 9 a.m. with coffee. I'm going to check that reservation, see if it's cheaper. Some people might have the goal to do it every single day. That's not me. I still, you know, I've got a couple kids I got to hang out with too. I can't just, I got to search for travel reservations, see if it's cheap.
When an airline advertises these crazy low fares, is it actually a good deal?
Almost never.
Okay.
Almost never.
Why.
And it pains me to say that, because I have some friends who work at the marketing departments of different airlines and whatnot. But the fact is, think about marketing at its core. They're trying to convince you to buy something. They're trying to convince you it's a good deal. You know, $1,000 flight to Paris. They're trying to convince you that is a really good deal. You know what doesn't need convincing whether or not it's a good deal? We found a flight a couple weeks ago from New York to Paris, nonstop, for $230 round trip. Whoa. You don't have to convince anybody to buy that ticket. That sells itself.
Right.
And so generally speaking, the best fares, the best deals are the unadvertised ones. You can pretty much safely ignore when an airline is advertising a sale.
Huh.
What about if you, like, say your home airport, you have your go-to airport, but somehow it makes more sense, you can save money. Would you recommend going to a farther away airport if it saves you money?
Sometimes it can make sense. Look, it's always going to be the most convenient when it's your home airport, has a cheap flight, nonstop and everything. Sometimes, especially if you live in a small area, that's not always going to be the case. I always think there was a going member, Shanna Lathwell, and her family of 5 lives in Detroit, Michigan. They always wanted to visit Bali, but flights from Detroit to Bali were like $2,500. One morning, she woke up to an email that flights from Chicago to Bali had dropped to $500 round trip.
Wow.
What that meant is she could take her family of 5 for the same price that it would cost just for one ticket out of Detroit. And so what she did, you know, it's not that it would have been more convenient to fly to Chicago than Detroit, but was it $10,000 more convenient to fly out of Detroit? Absolutely not. So she put the family in the car, drove over to Chicago, and ended up getting the deal of a lifetime.
Incredible.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What days should travelers avoid from flying?
Mondays and Fridays are going to be the most expensive days of the week to actually fly. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are going to be the cheapest, but when it comes to actually booking, there is no cheapest day of the week. You can search any day and have equal odds of a cheap flight.
How about traveling internationally? When's the best time to travel internationally?
Ooh, the best time to travel internationally, depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for the cheapest tickets, going to be more like January, February. Of course, when the weather's not as great in the northern hemisphere, but then that shoulder season's always going to be better. You know, March, April, May, September, October. It's going to be a lot better than the summer if your schedule allows it. That's what I would be targeting.
We literally can only travel on Fridays.
I've got a couple young kids myself.
I was like, oh, Friday's the worst travel day? No kidding.
Scott, we're going to be gardening our reservations.
Yes,
I really appreciate it. Go to our website, livewithkellyandmark.com for more information. Next, we're going to open up that pesky inbox. Thanks, Scott.